Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, 20 takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm alongside my co-host Tyler. And in today's episode, it's going to be another sports news episode. We haven't done one of these in three to 4 months because our schedules have been super busy, and this is only the second time that Tyler's been on in a few months because our schedules don't align. It's been a while, but it's good to get you back on. So Tyler, how have you been?
I've been busy. That's why I haven't been on in a while, but glad to finally be on. Glad to get on one of these news episodes. I love talking about all this kind of stuff. So obviously not as busy now that I'm finally back on.
Yeah, but even throughout these busy times, shows still got to go on. So we still got to find ways to put out episodes. So that's what we've been doing. And exactly. I've been taking the role, and like you've been there in the back and the support and everything, and just it's a good deal we got here, so can't complain.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what have you been doing throughout these past few months that we haven't seen each other, and how have you been overall, everything? That's because it's been a while, so everything in between.
Well, two things: work and school. That's pretty much what I've been doing. Working a lot of hours, pretty much 5 days a week. So that's kind of kicking my ass a little bit. And then schoolwork too, got to fluctuate in there. I'm pretty fortunate that my classes, again, they're all online, but mine do not meet for Zoom. There's no mandatory Zoom meeting. It's all just follow the flow of the class and whatnot. So basically, when I'm not working, I just get my homework done whenever I can before some deadlines. And then basically whatever free time I have, I fall asleep pretty early. So I'm just kind of knocked out, but I just kind of browse on my phone, social media, whatnot, just kind of chilling at home. So it's been pretty boring, but it's kind of just mandatory stuff that, like I said, I got to get done. But yeah, working a lot of hours has taken up my time the last couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the good old asynchronous classes where you just don't have a schedule. You just do it whenever. It feels like all the classes are asynchronous pretty much. They just have the due dates at the end of the week, and you just got to do it. And those are mostly my classes, but I just still got to sit in class, which sucks. But what are you gonna do? It's just I get the work done, so that's all that really matters, and just going through the motions sometimes. But you got to get over it. It's a grind for sure.
Yeah, actually, when I picked out my classes for next semester, I actually wanted to do the all online full the class one because with me being at a full-time job, basically, I got to be there pretty much every day. I wanted to do classes that allowed me to work a good amount of hours and still being able to I'm able to do some homework even when I'm at work. So I wanted to have something where I could kind of just like fluctuate in between, not just, sitting through like a hour Zoom meeting where, I'm just listening to the teacher lecture the whole time. But no, I'll take it. I'm getting some education, I'm getting some money. So, it's a good deal, you got to do what you got to do nowadays.
Pretty even split between the two. So that's good. And you're getting some free cookies, eh?
Wow, you really paying attention to my private stories, huh? Yeah. There hasn't been a couple months stretch where I haven't enjoyed cookies more than I do. Like, I gotta say, man, I appreciate cookies so much more now that the holidays just passed, and even after. I'll just leave it at that.
You're the real life cookie monster, eh?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but my skin's got to turn blue now for that. But
yeah, you're right. And like just like you, like I've had school. We got a full, like a somewhat partial indoor track season due to like the COVID season. Like we've had 4 indoor meets so far, and we just finished indoor season. So heading on to outdoor. So at least we're getting to race and compete and practice with the team and everything that's for school. Just school in general, like getting the work done, going to Zoom University, going to classes, doing homework that are due at the end of the week, trying to get ahead of the schedule there and finish like a week early maybe when the due dates are due. And then hockey, ended 2020 going 3-8-1 for one of my leagues, and then starting 2021 so far we're 5-2. So we brought that record up from 3-8-1 to 8-10-1. So making improvements there. So
improvements, right?
Oh yeah,
that's all about.
Little improvements. That's all that really matters there.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. You're lucky that you even have a season for track. Because I was gonna say, obviously you probably have to wear masks when you're like just sitting waiting for competition, but you don't have to wear them when you actually like run, right?
No, thank goodness, because that'd be pretty hard. But like just we got to wear masks like when we're actually in the facility, like warming up and everything. And then when we get to the line, we're able to take them off. And then for practices, when we're in the athletic building, we have to have masks on. And then when we get out to practice, like we could just take them off. But like pretty much anywhere that you're not running, you're pretty much wearing masks, which I'll take, especially since we have a season. So that's all that I care about. And just, it's good to have a season instead of just practicing for no competition.
Right. Exactly. Take the competition aspect, it's what you got to do. You don't know how long or how much longer, that this is going to go on for. So just take what you can get at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And excited for outdoor season. So that should be a pretty full schedule. Unlike indoor, we should have I think 5 to 6 meets. So that should be good to go, hopefully, and starting 2 weeks, I think. So it's good to get back rolling into outdoor. And then of course podcasting, we're doing this and get grinding out interviews whenever we can, or whenever I can, and you sometimes can't. So like when we do get the time to both do it, we definitely hop on that train for sure.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, I have a funny story too for hockey. Like I almost got into a fight 2 weeks ago. It was
were you goalie?
Yeah, I was goalie. So this is a pretty funny story. We won the game in overtime 2-1. Throughout the game, we had 3 people get ejected for fighting. So it was a pretty chippy game. And I got speared 3 times in the first period. I stopped the puck on the ice and I get speared in the chest 3 times. It's that's what started everything. I was not happy with that. And then second period comes along, 2 people get ejected. Then later in the third period, or early in the third period, another 2 get ejected. It's 3 from each team. And then with maybe 2 minutes left, or with maybe 2 to 3 minutes left, or maybe I think it was at the buzzer actually, because the buzzer went off to end regulation because it was 1-1. And this dude slashed me in the, I gave him a little tap in the ankles. He comes back, slashes me again, or slashes me. from like he was in front of me, so he just took his stick backwards into me. So I slashed him. So I like hacked his ankles even harder, and he turns around. This taking into the account that this dude is double the size of me, maybe has anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds on me. So like I'm like he gets right in my face. I'm literally looking up at him like this, and he's like saying like you're an effing joke, like, or like you effing suck, like all that shit, and just it was crazy because then like I shoved him with my blocker, just like get him out of my face, and then my defenseman from the blue line comes dashing in, takes the guy like in a like a movie, just takes the guy on, and just he gets kicked out, that guy gets kicked out, and then it goes behind the net like after the fight, and the dude is chirping me, so I'm chirping him back because he's chirping me, so I'm not gonna let that happen. It's like you effing suck, like I'd beat the shit out of you and stuff like that, and like he's like you're a puss, all that, and then like he said you're a little puss, and then he got off the ice. My teammate Glenn and I look at each other. Glenn was also on the podcast a couple like a month ago. We both look at each other and like, what the hell did this dude just say? And then he skates off the ice. Like that's the biggest puss thing ever to do, is say that and then just skate off the ice. Like, and then we're just chirping at him, and it was a mess. And then we ended up winning in overtime. So of course, that was exciting, and it was a good game.
Basically, you got the last laugh, which is the best. And I applaud you for not backing down, because obviously you're getting in this guy's head. You should have just kept saying, I'm getting in your head, big guy, huh? What do you think of that? Like, I'm the kind of guy that I get really, really pissed off and like really intense, that I would have done the same thing. Like, basically, yeah. I'm just going to say it. Fuck you. I'm going right at you, like straight up. So, you know.
And I was like, you're an effing joke.
Don't let those guys get to you, man.
Yeah, you're an effing joke. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
yeah, stand your ground.
Exactly. And like, this all started from the first that I got chippy like that, because like when I got speared, like I gave the guy a couple ankle taps before that, and then I swear the next play I cover it, and the same guy comes in trying to jab the puck. Instead of hitting my gloves, he gets me in the chest 3 times, and that started the whole thing with throughout the game. Like it was just a mad show, but we ended up getting the last laugh, so can't complain there. And it was unreal getting that W, getting the 2-1 dub in overtime, and it's awesome.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the scoreboard says it all. So who are you gonna go off of? You know, what guys are being chippy, or what team pulled out the win? So
exactly. And I like getting chippy too, especially when it gets intense. Like I thrive under those games. Like it gets super intense, and you just gotta grind through it and grind everything you got, and just give it your all. Like every game, but like especially in the intense situations, like it brings you up a whole nother level.
Exactly. Yeah. No question.
Yeah. So let's get into this episode a little bit. Like, we wanted to try out a new segment, like giving off like some hot takes for the first thing to start off this episode. So do you have any hot takes for us?
Hot takes is I know this is kind of broad, but with NFL free agency approaching, I think this is going to be maybe the wildest, if not living up to the hype of not just NFL free agency in particular, but the quarterback carousel, where these guys land. I mean, we've been hearing like these guys that we think we're going to retire with their teams, like their longtime teams. Like I know there's one in particular that you know who I'm thinking of. There's just free agency has just gotten so much hype. It's gotten so much build up the past couple of years, and it's lived up to it with like not just coaching changes, but these guys getting the big paydays, getting switching teams. We've never seen this kind of stuff happen before, but now at the NFL, it's starting to heat up. And like I said, I think this offseason might be the craziest, if not right up there with like 2019, 2018, 2020, just in terms of just craziness, and the quarterback carousel in particular.
Yeah, I feel like every year we say it's exceeding the last free agency, but this one's definitely true. Like with all the rumors you're already hearing with quarterbacks, receivers, linemen, like all that, like it's definitely going to be a fantastic free agency. And I'm curious to see where a lot of these guys are going to go, especially with like a lot of the guys that are like top ends. And like you said, like you would think they'd be staying with their team their whole career, and then they're shipping off to different teams. So it's definitely going to be a fun and interesting free agency for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So do you have another hot take to take on?
I don't want to save my stuff for when we get nice and juicy into the main stuff. That was just my broad one.
All right, yeah, let's jump right in all this then. So let's talk about some MLB first, because MLB is recently started spring training. Spring training opened up in Arizona and Florida. So what's your take on how the MLB is going to do this year?
I think they're going to do great. I don't know if they're going to play a full 162 game season. I have not seen that, but with the way they're going, maybe the season's going to start like a week into April. We know spring training kind of starts like late February. Now it's early March. So they're looking about right on time. And with the way their season panned out last year, they were able to finish like normal. They played out a regular season, kind of how it would be with where they started right after the All-Star break, pumping out a few more games than normal. But like I said, finishing late October, having the off season was a little bit late in my opinion, or maybe it wasn't. But I just feel like the MLB they're gonna do good this year. They lost a lot of money from not having an agreement on where they're gonna play. This year it looks like it's gonna be really, really smooth. Hopefully, we're gonna see some teams with fans back in the stands. So we're gonna see if they can get some money back. Because I think they lost a couple $2 billion last year, and with all the pretty exciting free agency moves for them too. I think MLB is going to do a pretty good job. I can't wait for this year. And I got to say, if you're the NL West, you got to be sitting pretty and you got to be saying, man, we might have the two best teams in baseball this year. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, 100%. Just, I think this is going to be a good year for the MLB, especially with them. I heard that California teams are allowing at least a percentage of fans to come back.
Not surprising considering it's California.
That is true. And just like, hopefully some of the other teams hopefully the other states sometime during the season open up and allow at least a percentage of fans to come in, because that'll also gain revenue for the team and the MLB as well. And just, I think it's going to be a good year for the MLB, and just, it's going to be a fun time to watch, because we still have no idea like how many games they're going to play, but like how many games do you think they're going to play? If you had to guess.
I could be off. It could be a full season. I'll just go 150. It could be a full season, but I'll just say 150. If I'm wrong, hell with it. 150 games.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go a full season. So 162. So that's my take, and it's gonna be a really like good competition level, especially with like some of the teams like the NL West, like you said, like they have probably the top two teams in the whole MLB, and just a lot of these teams are getting a whole lot better. Like especially like the Sox, the Cubs, like they're adding staff and adding players to their roster, and just it's really going to excel the prior seasons, I think, for all these teams, and it's going to be a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, going into free agency a little bit, looking upon this year, I think you got to look at some key winners and some key losers. Now, and the key winners, I think it's pretty easy. I'll start with, in my opinion, the biggest winner, the San Diego Padres. They came on in a big way last year. Jace Tingler did a fantastic job in his first year. They've already got an established batting rotation. Sorry, some young stars, Tatis. They made a splash with him in free agency. They're paying Machado a ton of money. But that's not the area that they improved on. Darvish, I was pretty upset when I saw this, but I got to thank him for his couple years here in Chicago as a Cub. But Darvish came to the San Diego Padres this offseason. What a move for them. And that was where I think they really had their downfall. I really honestly thought that they could compete toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and the Braves this offseason, but they didn't have the pitching staff to do it. They had some injuries down the stretch. But now They got Darvish, who, in my opinion, should have been the Cy Young Award winner. No offense to Trevor Bauer. He had a great year, but I think Darvish deserved that a little bit more. They got that guy who had probably his best year. Then they got another guy who mysteriously got pulled in the World Series in Game 6. How about Blake Snell off a team that, doesn't really have enough to pay a guy like 15, 20 mil a year? That guy's been unreal the last couple of years. Tampa Bay, I've seen them on the rise the last couple of years, and now all of a sudden they're in the World Series. But what a shocking trade. And I think, again, it just comes down to they knew in the long run they weren't going to be able to have enough to pay Blake Snell because of no salary cap, and they shipped him off to a kind of I'd say middle of the road to high market team. But man, San Diego, look at that, man. After just years of just frustration and not good teams, they have a key duo in the field and in the batting rotation, and they have some key pitchers, easily the winners. And also, you got to take into effect the Los Angeles Dodgers scored on Trevor Bauer, which that guy's how does he do it with the money? Like he tricks everyone.
Yeah,
did you see his deal? He's making like his first year, he's making like 20 something million. Then he's making like 40 million his second and third year. It's like, how is this guy eluding these teams? Like he's a mastermind.
He's a fantastic pitcher.
Well, that's the other thing I'm getting into too. How about the Dodgers, man? The pitching staff is loaded now. Or it was already loaded, but now they got Trevor Bauer. Like they're just. It's like they got a full house.
Exactly, and it's awesome. Like seeing those teams, like the Dodgers have always been a top team in recent years, and just especially they were made the World Series a few years ago. Like they already had a good pitching staff. They had good fielding. They had good batting. Like they had Trevor Bauer this year, who came off a fantastic season last year, and there's nothing to describe it. Like the Dodgers are there to compete and they're there to win. Like they want to win championships, and I believe with like the addition of Trevor Bauer and some of the other guys, like they're definitely going to be contenders for a long time, especially with those guys that are on their roster right now.
Yeah, signing actually trading for Mookie Betts last year was a big move too, and then they signed him to about a 13-14 year deal. But that's the key, though, is that they've come so close for years to come, but they finally got over that hump last year against a young and upcoming Tampa Bay Rays team, which I don't know if they'll be back in the World Series. I think I don't know if they're actually a lock to win that division. I'm going to get into that in a second, but they finally got over that hump last year. And now, like you said, they've had the talent for a long time. They've had the roster, they've had everything. Now they got that championship, but now it's like they're just raising the stakes right now. They're saying, look what we can do. And they might win it again next year. Who knows? But Tampa Bay, what a great season for them. They lost Blake Snell, which is unfortunate. They also lost Charlie Morton, which is another big blow to them. He was a really, really good pitcher for them down the stretch. I don't know if they're going to be able to repeat, though. The New York Yankees, obviously, with no salary cap in baseball, they could just spend $30 million on basically whoever they want. How about the Toronto Blue Jays? That's going to be another team that I'm going to look at next year that also made a splash in free agency. George Springer comes from Houston, and you got the young tandem right now of Vlad Guerrero Jr. and I believe is Bo Bichette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Toronto, look out for them, man. Tampa Bay is going to have some teams on their heels next year for that division title. Yeah, Toronto, though, again, great acquisition in George Springer.
Yeah, absolutely. And just all those teams, like they weren't that great years ago, but now they're making those pieces and they're working their way up, and they're making a splash in free agency and just bringing these guys on and just signing these guys and it really improving their teams. Like you love to see it, especially from you don't want to see these teams be constantly making the playoffs, and you can expect who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to do bad, who's going to do good. But this year, I think it's going to be really close in every division, most likely. And just for the most part, every league's going to be really close, and you're going to have a few games back within each other from 1 through 5, 1 through 4. It's going to be insane, I think.
Yeah, this year is going to be really, really interesting. If I had to break down who I'd predict, honestly, in the AL East, I believe it is. I think I'm getting them right. AL East. I think it's anyone's game between Tampa Bay, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. I think this is going to be the time where Toronto makes that next leap up. Tampa Bay didn't really get anything in free agency. They lost two of their best pitchers. I don't really know if they really got anyone else, but I don't think they did. They haven't gotten any proven stars. That is with the Blake Snell trade. They got some prospects, some farm league people, which we don't know how they're going to pan out. So I'll keep an eye on that one. I think easily the AL Central is going to be the White Sox and the Twins duking it out. I hate to say it, looks like the White Sox are going to be good, the division champions next year. Congratulations. Not just kidding. The real thing, though, with them is how is Tony La Russa going to do coming back? He's about 76, 77 years old. He's been retired ever since he won the World Series with the Cardinals 10 years ago. How is he going to be fresh out of the gate? He's by far the oldest manager left. The Sox, they have a great team. How's old La Russa going to do coming back and being the skipper? And then the Twins, obviously still a really, really good team. The rest of them, I can't really see anything playing else yet, especially with the Indians after trading away Lindor. Then the AL West, I'd say Houston and Oakland, kind of a tiebreaker between those two. NL East, now that I think about it, that division's pretty good, top to bottom. Philadelphia's got a ton of talent. They just haven't put together a full season. The Braves, obviously, they should be the front runners. The Mets, though, making that splash with Steve Cohen as their new owner. Miami, what a season for them last year, knocking off the Cubs with a basically nobody roster. And then there's one team I'm leaving off. God, man, I should know this. Miami, Atlanta, Philly,
New York, the Mets.
There's
Rays,
one more than
Phillies, Nationals.
The Nationals, right? They got John Lester, they got Kyle Schwarber, they got some new hitters back this year. So hey, that division is going to be tough, but I think it's going to be the Braves and the Nationals fighting out for that one. The NL Central might be the worst division in baseball. I gotta admit, but with the St. Louis Cardinals getting Nolan Arenado, I gotta put them as the favorites.
That's a huge signing for them.
Yeah. I really thought Arenado was going to be a Rocky for life. I really did not. I think he wanted to be there too because they just signed him like a year or two ago to a big ass extension. And then I was like, wow, they traded him. But I was like, to St. Louis? It's frustrating. But the Cubs didn't really get much better other than Areata. They lost some guys. The Brewers took a step back last year. The Pirates are not that great. And the Reds have some talent, but I don't know if they could put it all together. So right now, I'd say that's going to be that division winner will have the least amount of wins. Cardinals by like a game or two over the Cubs, and then the NL West, man. I'm calling it. The Dodgers and Padres are going to have over 100 wins. They're going to skate by everyone in that division. Yeah, no question. They're going to be the best two teams in baseball. Oh man, one of those two teams is going to have to duke it out in probably the championship series or the divisional series because one of those teams is going to be playing in the wild card game.
That's going to be tough games when they play each other.
Like one of those teams is going to have to play in the winner go home wild card game. Like, can you believe that? Unreal.
That's going to be insane. Just like think about like the so much potential that these teams like have, and like the season of the MLB has. Like, it's going to be it's going to be a fantastic year, and just to watch baseball, like it's been like hit or miss in the past, but this year I think it's like you have to like watch these games because it's going to be close no matter what, especially when you put some of those teams together. Like it's going to be a game to the ninth inning, like maybe 2 outs, bases loaded, like those type of games, and those are the best games. Oh yeah,
this season's going to be fun to watch. A lot of new stars and new places, a lot of teams on the rise. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And a full season, basically, we're thinking of baseball. So I can't wait. Can't wait for it to start up.
Yeah, me too. So like, what's your take on Jake Arrieta coming back to the Cubs?
I'm all for it, especially after the Cubs, they traded Yu Darvish to the Padres. I was really surprised at that one. The new not really new regime, but Theo Epstein kind of stepping down, that took me by surprise. Jed Hoyer comes in, fills his role. They're going to have someone else fill Jed Hoyer's role from what he was doing. But this is a part of the plan. The Cubs are in such a weird spot right now that they're trying to rebuild, but they're kind of in like a win now mode. It's like half and half. And I really don't know what the process was behind Yu Darvish trading him. Fantastic year. Obviously, it's a huge splash for the Padres, getting a guy like that who just came off maybe his best season at a team that just absolutely peaked last year. But that being said, they also lost Big John Lester, who was the veteran presence of that rotation. Not only that, but just their team as well. Jose Quintana left for the Angels as well to reunite with Joe Madden. So the Cubs were thinking of this year, we need pitchers. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. We need pitchers. And you know what? I'm all for them bringing Areata in. He wasn't really the best in Philadelphia, obviously taking a step back as he's getting a little bit older, but I'm all for it. I think everyone loved him here. I think everyone's going to love him back. I'm all for that move. So I'm hoping that Areata gets to the form. He's going to be the number 2 and number 3 starter for sure. So he's going to bring that, again, veteran presence back. But the Cubs needed pitchers. So I'm all for it.
The guy even said, like, he loves being a Cub. Like, it was like a no-brainer when the Cubs offered him a spot to come back. Like, he was going to take it. And, like, he really thrived in the Chicago Cubs organization, their system, especially the years that they won the World Series. Like, those were the years that he really thrived under. And it was hard to see him, like, as a Philly last year and like how, like, he didn't do that great, but it's good to see him come back to the Cubs.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of those guys that he was with are still on the team. You still got that core group of Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Contreras. All those guys are still there. But like I said, pitching rotation wise, it's a lot different than what it is now. John Lackey has since retired. John Lester is on the Washington Nationals. You didn't have Darvish, but it's a lot different though for the Cubs. So it's pretty much him and Hendricks right now. Those are going to be the front runners for that number 1 rotation spot. But again, definitely adding that veteran presence for the Cubs and just a pitcher in general. That's what they needed. So
yeah,
I'm ready to see. It was a cheap 1 year off deal. So I think this will probably be his last year unless he signs another one next year. But I think Areata, this will be the team he retires with.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that there, and I think he will retire as a Chicago Cub. So going into the Sox a little bit, like with La Russa, like I think it's gonna be a slow start for him to get his feet under him, being manager again. But like with the lineup that the Sox have, like they've like worked so hard getting to where they are right now, and they made they're in the wild card last year, and like. They also boosted their pitching staff this year, and like they have like a whole, like, their pitching staff is incredible. And then they have Tim Anderson, Abreu, all those guys in the field, and like they're power hitters. Like, I think they have everything they can to go pretty far in the playoffs and make a run for the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people were looking at the White Sox last year as a team who can make a big step up, and even this year, I think they got better. And like, I 100% see what you're saying about La Russa. 76, 77 years old, hasn't been managing baseball. We all didn't think he'd come back after winning with the Cardinals in 2011, but they got the roster to do it. And if there's a guy who's been around a while, it's La Russa. He managed the White Sox back in the 80s. So we'll see if he regains that magic touch. But you're right. They got a mix of some couple veteran guys, but some really, really young, promising stars. Anderson, really, really great shortstop. You got Abreu, you said. Wasn't he the AL MVP this past year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Robert? Luis Robert?
Yeah. Oh, Robert, yeah.
Robert, yeah. I wasn't sure if there was like a certain pronunciation with that, if he was from where he's from, but Robert, really, really young prospect. Hey, they got Adam Heaton back too.
They did.
Really good outfielder.
That's another good step in the right direction with getting Adam Eaton back, and like he's a solid outfielder, like you said. And he did a fantastic job of playing with the White Sox when he was back in like 2 to 3 years ago, I believe it was.
Yeah, get some more playoff experience back too. he had a great World Series with the Nationals. Him and Howie Kendrick, I remember their little little celebration in the dugout. So he brings some playoff experience back to that team. A lot of those guys who are still there don't have much playoff experience. But getting into their pitching, though, Liam Hendricks, they got one of the best relievers in the league from the Oakland Athletics. I believe it was a 3-year deal. So they got a good guy to close it up. Giolito, fantastic pitcher. Young.
Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, Giolito with that no-hitter last year.
Yeah.
The 2 Chicago teams with the no-hitters last year.
Only 2 teams in MLB with no-hitters last year. It was a pretty good feeling there.
I'll take that, man. Giolito and Alec Mills with the Cubs no-hitter. But Giolito really bust onto the scene last year. And I was talking about playoff experience. How about Dallas Keuchel? You know, he took a step back, I believe, last year. But in a season where, you know, you have these guys that have been around for a while, but again, with the playoff experience, not many. Keuchel brings a lot of playoff experience and a lot of, you know, game management experience to this team where, you know, he's been Houston Astro for a long time, Atlanta Braves for a little bit as well. This guy, I believe he'll be that glue. You know, he's not going to be what he was. He's not going to be that dominant Dallas Keuchel we know, but he's super solid, and he's that guy that's going to really get these younger guys to focus and key in on the bigger picture ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And going back to the MLB, like this is going to be a fantastic year for the MLB, and it's going to be fun watching these teams. Do you want to transition a little bit into the NFL now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so recently, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Kansas City Chiefs about a month ago in the Super Bowl, but the Bucs took it
a month ago already. My God,
I know, for real. A month to this day, actually. And like it was Bucs took it 31-9. Tom Brady with the MVP. Like, what's your take on the NFL season this year and how the Bucs won? They're the first team to do it on a home field too. So like it's a pretty historic year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, I'm looking at an imaginary clock right now, and I see it going backwards because that's what Tom Brady's just proving. He's proving time doesn't matter. The guy is just a proven winner. He is undisputed greatest of all time. And coming to a franchise that all time has the worst winning percentage in all time. And the Buccaneers are one of those new expansion teams from the 1990s. They're not as old as, you know, some of these other teams, but they came around in the 70s. They had one of the worst starts ever. Like they lost 26 straight games at one point in the 1970s. They've been pretty much nothing since. They won that one Super Bowl with John Gruden, where basically John Gruden knew the blueprint to the Oakland Raiders team he built up. That defense was pretty monstrous, though. But the bottom line is Tampa Bay hadn't won a playoff game since they won the Super Bowl in 2003. And he comes down to a team which I could care less about the amount of weapons Tampa Bay has. He had come into Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, adding, you know, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, all those guys. All right, they're fantastic. I don't care who you are. At 43 years old, and you're able to put up that kind of a season, and it looked rough the first half of the year. After they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, they were at 7-5. I'm like, oh man, I don't know, but they never lost again, and that's why I think Tom Brady is so great. He knows the big picture. We heard him quoting so many times. What are you crying for, man? I go after rings. You got to look at the big picture. Don't go celebrate making a Pro Bowl. Make the Super Bowl. You know, this is what I do. And he makes everyone around him so much better. Like when last year, Jameis Winston, you know, they had some great guys on offense. They had some great guys in defense. We know that. But Tom Brady's a proven winner. He obviously boosts everyone's confidence up. And that's why I feel like Tampa Bay, they were ultimately on top. The best team in football, hands down. The 11-5 record doesn't show what kind of a team they are. Now with Tom Brady, they're the best. And by the way, man, that defense is special. Their offense is special, but man, that defense, holy cow. Holy cow.
Yeah, I know. And that Super Bowl, like you definitely can tell right from the get-go that Tampa Bay controlled that game. Like Tom Brady was controlling everything. Like Mahomes didn't do that well with passing for the first, 2 quarters.
I think almost the whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, think of it this way, 27 of the 29 times, which is a Super Bowl record, 29 quarterback pressures. 27 of the 29 snaps, the Buccaneers did not rush extra men. They used the typical four-man rush. Jason Pierre-Paul had a night. Shaq Barrett had a night. Vita Vea, who they got back from actually being injured against the Bears earlier in the year, they got him back. Vernon Golston's up there as well. Tampa Bay, though, they gelled together at the right time. And that's why I was really saying with not a lot of time to establish a team culture, with COVID being a factor, in training camp and OTAs, the more this team plays together, the more they're going to succeed. And we saw that later in the year. They started racking it up. And throughout these playoffs, that's the best guy you have on your team leading, Tom Brady. And he just took him right through it.
Yeah, 100%.
Three road games he led him to. So just unbelievable work. And I got to say, I really, really wish preseason I would have bet on this Super Bowl matchup particularly. I did my NFL predictions for this year. I said Tampa Bay over Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Imagine if I put money on that. I could be making a rain right now.
Dude, you should have put money on it. You had a feeling.
But that's the thing. If I did put money on it, it wouldn't have happened. Of course, it doesn't work out that way. But still,
only in a perfect world it does.
Yeah, kudos to myself for predicting that. But it's just unbelievable what Tom Brady brings to a football team like that. Really, really excellent job. And they got to be the front runners again next year. I mean, I'm sorry. We'll talk about free agency in a minute. Tampa Bay's got a lot of decisions to go off of free agency, especially with that franchise tag deadline. Yes, franchise tag deadline coming up in about 2 days, day and a half. They got some work to do, but I know that they're going to be probably the front runners again next year. But what a season, man. I did not think that. I really honestly cannot believe in his first year in a new uniform. I never thought we'd see him in in a uniform other than a Patriots uniform. He does it in 1 year. 1 year. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. I had a feeling since the start, like, he was gonna lead his team to a Super Bowl, because it seems like that's the kind of guy he is. Like, he's looking at the bigger picture, like you said. Like, as a team, like, when you have that guy, that person, that GOAT as a guy to like lean on, like, you don't get nervous during those games. Like, Tom Brady's gonna bring you through that game, and just with like his excellent leadership and all that, like, he knows when to do stuff. He knows when to calm things down. Like, he's a true great in the game of football, and he's definitely the GOAT in my opinion.
Yeah, Buccaneers have a great overall roster, great coaching staff as well. Bruce Arians, excellent coach. Byron Leftwich, how about that, as a 37-year-old offensive coordinator, former Jaguars quarterback. Bruce Arians reunited with him when he took the Buccaneers job. They had some time together in Arizona. And then Todd Bowles, rough couple of years as the New York Jets head coach, but he comes in, does a great job with this defense. Even last year, their defense was like top 10 in efficiency, despite Jameis Winston's 31 interceptions. Their defense still played really, really well, but they had those guys, the linebackers, Devin White. I love that guy. What a stud. Levante David. We'll see if he's back in a Buccaneers uniform next year. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Antoine Winfield. I love that guy as well. I love that peace sign. Their defense was just absolutely all over the place. Ball hawks, mentality. Buccaneers, man. What more can you say? Like, Tom Brady took them literally from the ground to the ceiling in 1 year.
It's just incredible, and like, you can't describe it, because like, if you try, like, everything's just perfect. Like, they did start out shaky with like that 7-5 record, but ever since then, like, they just took it to the roof, and they're Super Bowl champions now. And Tom Brady has number 7, I believe, right?
Number 7.
Number 7, and he was the MVP again for the Super Bowl. So like, that's incredible. So there's nothing you can say after that. It's just insane.
Yeah. And I'm not shaming him one bit for tossing around the Lombardi to Gronkowski's boat and for getting absolutely hammered. Like, it's your trophy, man. Do whatever the hell you want with it.
You won it. You deserve to do whatever you want. Like,
yeah.
That video was funny when they sent it, when Tom Brady threw it to Gronkowski's bow, and like that was funny. Everyone was probably like, "Ooh, oh," like, but like everyone
I was
knew what they're
surprised,
doing.
man. I was like, oh my God, Tom Brady's doing that? Like the Tom Brady we've known for 20 years in New England, but he's a whole new man now in Tampa Bay. But I would have just loved to be a fly on the wall or just a fly, period. Or just I would love to be at that Buccaneers Super Bowl parade. That looked like the most insane parade like ever. Like those guys were going hard. Gronkowski dancing with the shirt off, twerking like that. That atmosphere had to be great. Scotty Miller dropped Chris Godwin's phone in the water. Like, what the hell's going on, man? These guys are just going nuts. Tom Brady's throwing the little Barty trophy around. Tom Brady's got to be held up because he's, walking like he's blitzed out of his mind. Insane environment. Bruce Arians is just saying, yeah, you're staying here, I would have just
those boat celebrations hit different. Like you saw with the Tampa Bay Lightning this year, like when they won the Stanley Cup, like the boat celebrations, like they're a huge thing. And like I think it's just boat celebrations should be the way to go now. Like you see how much fun these guys have on the water, and it's just so much fun to watch too.
Yeah, before we hit the next thing though with NFL, whatever you have planned, what a time to be alive for a Tampa Bay sports fan. The Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Rays make the World Series, almost won, and the Buccaneers make the Super Bowl. And they don't have a basketball team, but the Miami Heat, close enough it is, even though Orlando might be closer, the Miami Heat made the NBA Finals. What a time to be a Tampa Bay fan.
For real.
Florida fans.
It's insane. Like Florida was going off this year.
They were.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. So, like, let's get in a little bit of free agency. Like, free agency has been crazy this year so far. There's quarterbacks looking for teams, wide receivers, linebackers. Like, everyone's wanting to go somewhere, it seems like. So, what's your take on free agency this year and some of the players that we've seen try to test free agency?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I believe the signing period does not start for at least another week and a half. These guys can start negotiating with teams pretty much whenever. I think next week it's going to start to get really, really juicy. But that's the thing, though. Next week it gets juicy, but we've already had some major trades even before the Super Bowl. Like, let's start with, how about a guy that I for sure thought would retire as a Detroit Lion? New regime comes in, new head coach, new GM. He's out. And what do they bring in? Detroit brings in a quarterback from unbelievable source. How about that, though, man? Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff and a couple of first-round picks. Unreal. I was like, oh, my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that I did not see that trade coming at all.
We knew Stafford was going to get traded, but I was like, the Rams, oh my God, man. I for sure thought Indianapolis was going to nab him.
I think the Lions are definitely going to get a lot better this year with that trade. Just Jared Goff is coming in, doing pretty well for the Chargers before, or for the
Rams.
For the Rams, yeah, my bad.
No, you're good.
It's gonna be a fun year watching those two switch and see how their team turns out, because the Lions, like, they haven't been that great, but I think that's definitely gonna change, especially with Jared Goff being their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't want to touch on this too long because we got other stuff there, but unreal fallout from Jared Goff and Sean McVay. Like, they made the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, and all of a sudden Goff's out, and it was clear McVay didn't want him to start. Like, McVay wanted John Wolford to start the playoff game. And you could just tell Jared Goff was visibly frustrated in his conference that he's like, why didn't I start this game, man? So obviously we really don't know what the details are from this falling out, but just unreal how they almost won a Super Bowl 2 years ago and now he's gone. Matthew Stafford, though, I think the Rams are going to be something else next year. Their defense took a massive step up last year. Number 1 defense in football, no question. And they got a guy who's been the epitome of a bad franchise. A team that doesn't know how to build around their really, really solid quarterback. Now he goes to a team with a really good offensive line, a great play caller, a great scheme designer, great defense. Rams are going to be one of the top Super Bowl contenders next year. Then on the Lions standpoint, I don't think the Lions are going to be really good based off their talent. I think their overall coaching staff is going to make them somewhat of a contender. And it starts off with the guy who literally said, we're going to bite some kneecaps off in his post-game or his introductory head coaching conference. Dan Campbell, I was like, what is this? Why did they hire him? Such a Lions hair, but we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right, and we're going to get up. We're going to take another kneecap off. I was like, all right, man's coming in hot. I respect that.
He's going all in.
Yeah, first time head coach. But he obviously set a tone there very, very early, which is a good thing. And some of the guys Detroit has brought on, like Mark Brunell is their quarterback coach. Anthony Lynn, the former Chargers head coach, is our offensive coordinator. He brought along Aaron Glenn from the Saints, where he was the tight ends coach, to be defensive coordinator. There was another guy too, but I forgot. But Detroit's got a pretty interesting coaching staff, which I feel like it's going to pay dividends for these younger guys. But Jared Goff in a Lions uniform is going to be something interesting to see. He's going from LA to Detroit, which has got to be a downgrade in terms of city-wise. Sorry, Detroit fans, but he's got to be thinking of, he literally mentioned this. I'm going to a team that actually wants me. He was very, very adamant that the Rams did not want him. Like, Sean McVay did not want him. He's going to a team that was like, all right, that these guys want me. And part of it is their new GM, Brad Holmes, was the college director of scouting with the Rams. He was the guy who picked out Goff for them to draft number 1. He's got the GM's trust. He's got a whole new team around him who he can build relationships with. A head coach that obviously wanted him. So maybe a fresh start is the best thing for Jared Goff, but they got to build some more talent around him. That defense was not that great last year, and their offense, they got to get some more weapons. But I was like, wow, unreal trade.
Yeah, it's definitely a good step in the right direction for each team, I believe, and just it's gonna be fun seeing them play for different teams, because I thought Stafford was gonna be a Lion for life, and just even before this year, I thought Stafford was gonna be on the Lions for a while, but this trade comes, and I thought same thing with Jared Goff. He seemed like he wanted to be there, but then again, 2 years ago, like you said, he didn't their coach didn't want him to be a starter in the playoffs. They want to play Wolford over him. So you saw that tension come, and then everything switches up after this prior season. Now they're both on separate teams, so it's gonna be a interesting year to see how they do with their team and how they can bring their team up to the next level.
Yeah, and the team that I thought was going to get Matthew Stafford got another guy who I think that this is the only logical landing spot. We're talking about former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. I really, really thought that the Bears were going to bite the bullet and get Carson Wentz. I was like, oh, God, here we go. They're going to go 2 first-rounders, a bunch of unnecessary people for a guy that's taken a big step back. But they didn't. They backed out. And I think the Indianapolis Colts are really the only logical landing spot for Carson Wentz. Frank Reich is the head coach for Indianapolis. The year after Carson, or the year when they won the Super Bowl, Frank Reich takes the Indianapolis Colts head coaching job. Carson Wentz was having a fantastic season in 2017 before he got hurt. Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator. Frank Reich was the guy who was, communicating with Wentz on a day-to-day basis. This was the tandem. This was the coordinator. This was the quarterback. And so the last couple of years, it's been Doug Peterson and his erratic and just head-scratching play calls, putting guys around him that just very questionable. Now he's going to a team where they have a great defensive line. They have a pretty solid defense overall. Great offensive line in Indianapolis. Pretty solid receivers, I'd say. Nothing more better than what he had in Philly, but he's got a guy that used every single tool out of him to his max in Philly in 2017. And he's going to a team where he's not going to get sacked 50 times playing for the Colts. 50 times he got sacked. And he didn't even start every game. 50 times.
That's insane, that number, and he didn't even start every game. How? How's that possible?
And the other funny thing is, too, Phillip Rivers, who was their quarterback, who has historically been known to be a very immobile quarterback, who he loves staying in the pocket. He loves to do that very interesting throw, sling it around. Phillip Rivers, 37 years old, only got sacked 19 times in 16 games. That's only like a sack a game. Immobile Phillip Rivers. And Carson Wentz is actually showing some pretty good legs. So imagine the stability he has with a great offensive line, pretty solid receiving core, obviously a coach who knows how to take Wentz's skill set to the max, a defense he can kind of hang us out and say, hey, you know, if we don't really necessarily get the job done, hey, you guys can go out there and kick some butt. But I think this is the only logical landing spot for Carson Wentz. The Bears' offensive line, they were the only other really team in the mix. The Bears' offensive line was very hit or miss all season. They were not going to be a team that's like Wentz would not have that stability. So I think Indianapolis is the only team that suits Carson Wentz. And they only gave up two draft picks for him. In my opinion, Indianapolis was the easy winner of this trade. And right now, I'd say the Rams barely squeak out the trade with Detroit as the winners.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. And just I want to go on to the Bears a little bit here because there's been a lot of rumors about like different quarterbacks that could come to Chicago. I know Mitch Trubisky most likely won't come back next year, even though there's been things that said that he could. There's potential. Like Russell Wilson, like has been the recent rumor about Russell Wilson coming to Chicago, like that he would want to come to Chicago. Even there was Deshaun Watson as well. Like who
that's picked up steam the last couple of days.
Yeah, who do you think's the Bears are gonna go for, and why do you think that he's the best fit for them?
If I had to put my money on someone right now, I'll be dead honest. It's Russell Wilson. There actually is a guy that wants to come to. I'm not just saying this deep down because I'm a diehard Bears fan. I love the Bears so much. They're my favorite sports team. I'm not just saying this because this is what I want. I'm saying this is what I truly believe. The stuff that is being said, nobody. If you're a quarterback in the NFL, Chicago is one of the last, if not the last place you want to come. They are the only franchise to not have a 4,000-yard passer in its entire history. And they are the first or second oldest team in football at 100 years old. The Texans in 2002, they've had like 3 or 4 already. The Bears have historically been known to have a very elite defense and mediocre to below average quarterback play. There's never been a guy under center that's been like, oh my God, he's so amazing. Like Jim McMahon wasn't that great as a Bears quarterback. Rex Grossman wasn't great when he led the Bears to the Super Bowl. The best thing we've had was Jay Cutler. And that's like, oh, okay, Jay Cutler. You know, Mr. I'll throw it 10 yards below the guy's feet in the ground or like right to a defender. But Russell Wilson, it's interesting that he wants to come here. And he actually does. He likes the emerging offensive line, which I find kind of interesting. The Bears did have a better offensive line to end the year last year, but the last 2 weeks against Green Bay and New Orleans, which are better teams, that kind of got exposed. He likes the Chicago market, which is kind of not surprising. I mean, it's the third biggest city in the United States. Who wouldn't want to come here? But he likes Matt Nagy. What has Matt Nagy done? Okay, 12-4 his first year. All right. Great defense so that year. I think the defense won a lot of those games. The last 2 years, it's been 8-8, 8-8. And then first round exit in the playoffs this year. The guy is just he's not lived up to that offensive-minded head coach we've all wanted him to be. But I think it's interesting that the Bears, that the Bears, he wants to come here. Like, he actually wants to come here. But I think if you're the Chicago Bears, you know that this year, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy held onto their job by a thread. I think if they don't make the playoffs this year, they're both fired. But since they made it as an 8-8 wild card team, skin of their teeth over Arizona, losing to the Rams because they didn't have Kyler Murray, make it into the playoffs. George McCaskey's like, he's kind of stupid anyways, but George McCaskey's all right, fine, we'll give you one more year. This is it. You need a quarterback that can lead your team for the next 5 to 10 years, if not longer. Build around this guy. Like, you have a solid defense. You have some solid weapons. By the way, extend Allen Robinson. I'm just going to say that right now. You have a team that is they're ready. They're ready to win now. A coach that has shown glimpses of having a good offense, but has never quite put the full season together. I think with that kind of news, I would say Deshaun Watson probably would be a better fit because he's younger, but a guy like Wilson who wants to come here, you're on the phone with Seattle every day, offering them what you want until Seattle accepts that. Because honestly, the more this thing pans out, the more the Bears are down Seattle's necks trying to get that trade done. Seattle's going to cave. And the deal might be as tempting as it seems. You know, a couple defensive stars, couple first-round picks, maybe throw in Nick Foles as well. Thank you, BDN. But I think it's going to be Russell Wilson, and I think the big factor is he wants to be here. No quarterback has wanted to be a Chicago Bear. So I think with that alone, the Bears, they got to call Seattle every day. And regardless, they got to call Houston every day. They need a guy that can win now. Because if they don't, they bring back Mitchell Trubisky. If they bring in Alex Smith, which is not the best logical solution, Marcus Mariota, a cheap option, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are gone. And I'm sure they don't want to get fired. They need a guy that can win now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree with you there. And just like I do get like Deshaun Watson's the younger guy out of Russell Wilson, but like the Bears, like you said, like they want to win now. They have the pieces to do it.
There's no other way about it.
They have the pieces to do it. They just need that quarterback, and like their offensive line could be a little bit better, but like you need a quarterback that can lead that team. And like Russell Wilson, like he wants to be here. Like you said, no other guy wants to be in Chicago, especially now with like the past few years, how like they've been playing just to prove that Russell Wilson wants to be here. Like you said, like you have to be on the phone with them every day. Like you have to make sure he really wants to be here, really wants to win. And just, I think him wanting to be here is going to help the team gel a lot more. And like the coaching staff, like, especially the relationship with Russell Wilson, like you want to win. Like that's, and like you said, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, their job is on the line because you need to win and compete right now because they haven't done that in the past.
Right. After the big first year with Nagy as head coach, everyone's like, all right, downhill. Mitch. Yeah, Mitch made a big step up. The defense was great. The next year, I was really thinking the Bears would be a great team. They took a step down. We're like, all right, maybe this next year it's time to move on, and we're like, Nick Foles, he's not the biggest name out there, but he's not the worst name out there. I mean, he's a Super Bowl MVP. There's no doubt about that. But it was clear without a proven offensive line for a pocket guy like he is, he wasn't going to succeed. And that's what happened. And that's why Mitchell Trubisky he got his fire back for a couple games. He knew that this was the time to prove himself. But again, playing these better teams, playing Green Bay and New Orleans down the stretch over like Houston, Jacksonville, Minnesota, it's a step up. He obviously wasn't ready for that just yet. I think Mitchell Trubisky will not be the Bears starter next year, no matter what. But I don't know. I think if the Bears don't get, I'll 100% honest, the Bears do not get Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, which they should be pushing all out for because of their scenario. I really, really think the Bears are going to get Alex Smith. Now, I love his story. I love his determination. I love his perseverance. Comeback player of the year, maybe the most inspirational sports story of all time coming back. But he's not the guy that the Bears should be looking at. He's 36 years old. He can't move as well now coming back on the field, although he does have previous relationships with Matt Nagy from being in Kansas City. He's not a guy where you can build around for like 5-10 years. He's a bridge guy, 1 to 2 years at most with Alex Smith. And with the shaky offensive line, it's not going to do him very good. And the play calling was already a question. If you get a better quarterback like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, who their football IQs are a lot higher and their skill set's a lot higher. Alex Smith, very high football IQ, just doesn't have the skill set anymore. So that's why I feel like you have to be on the phone every day with Seattle and Houston getting those guys. But if they don't, I feel like unfortunately Alex Smith will be the guy because of that relationship with Matt Nagy before. And John, I don't know. I don't think John DeFilippo was there, but I just think if they don't strike gold, which I think they might, there's a good chance because apparently the Deshaun Watson the Bears rumor is heating up a little bit higher. Apparently there's not a team willing to give up more for Deshaun Watson than Chicago, which I was like, oh, okay, where did that come from? I thought Carolina was making a big run at Deshaun Watson, which is another interesting development. But you got to strike gold here. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, the Grim Reapers knocking on their door for their jobs. They got to go big. Go big or go home, literally.
Yeah, what's your preseason take on the Bears? Like, what's their record going to be?
It's a hard evaluation right now because I don't know who their quarterback is and I don't know what kind of other moves they're going to make. I'm just going to go with 8-8 for right now. You know, they've been like that the last 2 years. Once I actually see more of what their team's like after free agency and heading into training camp and the draft, I'll do another evaluation. But right now, I got to go 8-8. I got to go middle of the road.
Well, we'll definitely have to record another episode when we find out who all these players are going to go to. But I'll agree with you with your 8-8 because that's the middle ground, and we don't know like if we're getting Russell Wilson, Alex Smith, Deshaun Watson, like that's all up in the air, especially along with all the other trades that could happen.
I throw Mariota in the mix too.
Exactly.
I throw Mitch. I throw Mitch in there because why the hell not? And they're the Bears, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see about that. Just
it could be another random guy like Ryan Pace said. Everything's on the table. It could be a guy like Gardner Minshew that comes out of nowhere, which I feel bad for him right now. He's basically like dead meat in Jacksonville right now. They're looking their chops for Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew's like, what have I done? I've done some solid work the last 2 years, but new head coach, whatnot. That's what's going to happen with the number one pick. So I will not be surprised if it's someone random like that. But you've got to be on the phone every day. Hey, Seattle, how's it going? Hey, Houston, how's it going? Get on the phone and get yourselves a damn good quarterback.
Because the Bears need one.
They need one, man. I firmly believe that they could be. Hey, they went 12-4 with Mitchell Trubisky, the MVP, the one and only MVP 2 years ago. They could do way better than that.
Yeah, and
with a better quarterback.
Hopefully, this season proves that, and that they can be a lot better and bring in a whole different quarterback, a whole better quarterback, and just see how that goes.
Exactly.
It's definitely going to be a interesting time in Chicago this season with the Bears, but we'll see how it ends up and after free agency and when the season does start.
Oh yeah, these next week or two is going to be it's going to be nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you want to go into a little NBA talk right now?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. So NBA, like they're in the All-Star break right now. Like they some reason why I don't know they have an All-Star break during this whole thing going on. Like, this could be another hot take. Like, what's your feeling on the NBA hosting an NBA All-Star game in Atlanta, Georgia?
It's stupid. It's flat out stupid. I mean, LeBron James, basically the voice of the NBA, right away said, why are we doing this? It's stupid. And the report that came out this morning, I was like, oh my God, what are they doing? Like, did you see the report this morning? I'm sitting doing my math homework, and I glance up at my phone, and it says Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are uncertain for coming in contact with a barber who tested positive. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
You knew this was going to happen from the start.
Something like that was bound to happen. Just go on with your season as you were planning. 70, I think they were planning on playing 72 or 70 game season, which is 90% at least of what the full season is at 82 games. I'm not sure the exact math behind that, but why do you need to stop? Why do you need to stop and play an All-Star game, man? The players don't want it. Why did you have to follow through with it?
The NBA is the only team having an All-Star game, and out of the major sports, like, why are you doing it? Like, it's literally asking for disaster right there.
And you know, that's the most surprising thing too, as you bring that up, is they're the only league. The players have the biggest voice in the NBA. There's no question about it. The NBA.
And their players literally said no.
NBA is a players league. MLB is a GM league. NFL is a head coaching league. NHL, that's kind of a tough one. The players don't make a lot of money compared to the other sports. So I think it's kind of a GM league if you think about it. You'd know more about that than me. But the NBA, the players have easily the most power out of these four major sports. And they're all very against it, but yet Adam Silver follows through with the idea of having an all-star game. And with this whole situation with Embiid and Simmons just shocks me. Like, why were you following through with this in the first place?
There's going to be a lot of teams that get shut down after this for a few games.
Well, yeah, Philadelphia can't play for at least a week or two now because their two best players, arguably, Embiid and Simmons. Embiid's having a fantastic year. He might be one of the top 3 candidates for MVP. And Ben Simmons, too.
It just blows my mind about why they decided to do an all-star game.
Very, very surprising. But the one thing I will say, congratulations to Zach LaVine, man. The guy's having a hell of a year. It's good to see a Chicago Bull back in the all-star game.
I'm glad first all-star bid.
I'm totally glad he got the recognition because he's averaging like 28.4 points per game, way more than second place. The guy he's pulling out, man. He's proven to be the guy. I love the Billy Donovan hire from the onset, and I thought this is gonna be the move to the young core takes a step up from a guy who's won the last guy to win back-to-back national championships in college with the Florida Gators.
Your favorite team.
Yeah, yes, sir. He did well with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Almost took them to an NBA Finals appearance in 2016. They blew that lead to the Golden State Warriors. But Billy Donovan's been around, and so I think this is a great hire for the Bulls. It's a great hire for not only Zach LaVine but everyone else around him too, establishing that young mentality. Like the Bulls they're coming. So like I said, I'm just glad that LaVine finally got the appreciation he deserved and missed out on last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the Bulls, like it's good to see Zach LaVine in the All-Star game and like a guy having a lot of success this year, especially with guys in the past that have been on the Bulls, like the Bulls teams overall in the past few years, like they haven't been that great. Bulls are currently 16 and 18. They're 9th place in the East. So like, do you think the Bulls will make the playoffs this year?
I think they'll sneak in as the number 7 seed.
Yeah, I think they'll also make the playoffs. I think they'll get like 6th maybe in the conference. So squeezing in there a little bit, but I think the Bulls have what it takes to make the playoffs, especially with how the year that Zach LaVine's having this year.
Yeah, top 3 is pretty easily. It's Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee up there at the top. They're kind of on an island of their own. I think I was talking with my uncles the other day. 4th through like 10th or 11th is literally separated by like a game and a half. Like you had Indiana, the Knicks, unreal with Tom Thibodeau and Derrick Rose, which by the way, former Chicago Bulls. The Charlotte Hornets. How about that with LaMelo Ball? Great.
Talk about the year LaMelo's having though. He's
LaMelo's
a fantastic season so far, and like he broke a 60-year-old NBA record, leading all rookies in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. So like he's having an insane year, and it's good to see a Ball brother having so much success this year.
It's good to see a Ball brother not shoplifting from somewhere in China too. Just saying. LiAngelo, take notes. But Indiana, the Knicks, Charlotte, the Bulls. That's 4. Miami's right up there too. I think Orlando's right in that mix. The Wizards are an interesting one too. They got Bradley Beal, who's having a great year, and Russell Westbrook. Terrible start, but they're starting to pile up the wins. Like they beat Golden State a couple days ago. I think they've beaten some pretty good teams, but the Wizards are coming back up. That whole
Pacers, the Hawks,
the Raptors. The Hawks just fired their coach. Not off to the best start for them either. But
yeah, it's incredible how close that those like those 4 through 10 teams are, and it's going to be, even though 11, 12, 13, like they're also pretty close. So like it's going to be I think it's going to be a really good rest of the year, and like especially when it gets closer to playoff time, like I think that playoff race is definitely going to heat up. Yeah, Boston too.
Yeah, and then you got team like the Pistons and the Cavs are basically like they stink. They're like an island on their own from the bottom. There's like one more too. Yeah, that whole Eastern Division: Philadelphia, Boston, Toronto, Brooklyn, and the Knicks. I think they're all over 500. If the Knicks might be like a game under, but the Knicks the Raptors are actually worse than the Knicks. And no, the Celtics. Wow. No, see, that whole division's really, really good. Then you got Milwaukee, Indiana, pretty good there in that other division. The Bulls are at third. Detroit and Cleveland suck. So the Bulls are kind of sitting pretty at third, maybe getting run at second. Then you got Toronto looking, they're not having the kind of year I thought they would have. Miami, same thing, just off of an NBA Finals appearance. What in the world is happening with the Heat? Orlando is kind of that just below average 500 team we're used to seeing. Same thing with Atlanta, and then like I said, the Wizards are coming back up. So then the Western Conference, Jesus, man, they're like, you got every single team in that Western Conference is over 500 in the playoffs, and then you got like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th is like teetering with 500. Like the Western Conference is legit. But how about this, man? I love Utah. I said last year, watch out for them. They're always a team that I think could surprise people. They don't get talked about because they're in a smaller market. And look at them this year, man. Donovan Mitchell, I love that guy. He's a superstar. Rudy Gobert, too, big man. Really, really great defensive player. Mike Conley, adding that veteran presence there for them as well. Joe Ingles. I told you Utah was going to have a chance. They're always that team that's like, they're there, but they're not going to be like elite level. Best team in the league right now. We'll see. But you got another surprising team. How about the Phoenix Suns? If I would have said,
who would have thought the Suns were up there?
If someone would have told me the Suns would be leading that division over the Lakers, the Clippers, and Golden State at the All-Star break, I would have said you're crazy. I would think they're good with Chris Paul getting I'm adding Chris Paul this year, but I would have never thought Phoenix would be the division leader. Unbelievable. Yeah. Kudos to Phoenix and Devin Booker too. Hell of a player.
Exactly. It's crazy how a team can go from one year to the next and be like all the way like a division leader. Like you never know what to expect now. Like especially like in the NBA. I know like we talked about this earlier, but let's get into the Brooklyn Nets a little bit. Like they just signed.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you can take this since you brought this up earlier.
Yeah, well, Blake Griffin and the Pistons have been having some kind of issues because the Pistons suck. Griffin still is a guy he's entering the later stage of his career. He's not what he was when he was with the Clippers. Everyone knows that. But he's still a guy that's very reliable when you need him. Veteran presence, which kind of seems weird to say. I feel like it was just yesterday he came in the NBA as a young stud dunking all over people. But Detroit and him agreed to a buyout on his contract, making him a free agent. I believe it was yesterday or Friday. And where does he go? I'm looking at teams like maybe a team like runner up in the East, like maybe Indiana, maybe the Bucks, possibly maybe a team that's had not good in the West, like Utah, maybe something like that. No, he goes to the Brooklyn Nets, who've got literally superstar, and adding another superstar. And this is what I'm talking about, man. The NBA is.
Seems like a reaction every time, every year. It gets super team after super team after super team.
I want to be engaged, but it's just hard when these guys just keep joining one another. Like the Nets literally just had KD and Kyrie Irving this year. James Harden wanted out of Houston, and what did he do? He got his wish and went to Brooklyn. But now Blake Griffin gets the same thing. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I wanted to see him go to like a team that's like 4th or 5th, like contending, not like, oh, surefire finals team now. Cause you know, every goddamn superstar's got to be on the Brooklyn Nets now. Like, when the hell did Brooklyn ever become like a team that's like, oh my God, we got to go to Brooklyn?
It's like going back to Golden State and Cleveland a few years ago and just those super teams and like how everyone joined either Golden State or Cleveland. And it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, now it's literally the Nets and the Lakers. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and it's just team after team after player, like join like the biggest team in the whole league and just join with them.
It's a trend though. Who have been these superstars that have been on the two teams mentioned before, Golden State and Cleveland, that people were just notoriously known for joining? Who are the two polarizing guys on those two teams that guys join? LeBron and Kevin Durant. And look what's happening now. And Kyrie Irving somehow isn't it 1 year he's with LeBron, then now he's with KD. It's like, what the hell? Kind of weird there. But I want to like the NBA. I really, really do. The quality of the game has been going down. Defense is not being played that well. It's just literally, let's stand behind the 3-point line, get open and shoot your shot, basically. Yep. And it's just superstars joining superstars, man. Like, I want to see, like, this is why I was watching ESPN earlier, and that's talking about Damian Lillard. I still have so much respect for Damian Lillard. He's one of those guys, everyone knows he's a superstar, really, really good player. He stayed so true to trying to build a championship winning team in Portland, which, again, small market team. They've been a playoff contender pretty much every year, but it's like that first, second round exit team. Like, you're not going to think, oh, Portland to the NBA Finals, because they don't draw as much attention as like a big name city like LA with the Clippers and the Lakers, and Brooklyn with the Nets. Then I would throw the Knicks in there too, but James Dolan just tosses them out the window like that. But Damian Lillard, I have so much respect for, because he wants to build something with his team. He's
staying loyal to his team.
Right. And that's where I thought Kevin Durant was kind of, he leaves Oklahoma City, which is not a big name market, with Westbrook, great duo, and goes off the freaking Golden State. It's like, are you kidding me, KD? Like, you're literally, it says, I want a ring on your forehead. Like, literally, it's invisible, but we all know what it's true. And that's why I think Damian Lillard, people should look at him and saying, why can't we try and build something here? Because if all these superstars didn't team up with one another and then they were all in their own places, it'd be way more competitive and way more unpredictable. It'd be like, oh, maybe this team would step. Oh, maybe this team will step up. Now it's like, oh,
you know who's going to be in the playoffs and who's going to be in the championship right from the start of the season, pretty much.
Literally, you're like, oh, great, here we go, Brooklyn to the NBA Finals, because they have like four of the best like 20 players in basketball. Then you got the Lakers, who are probably going to make it this year in the East. Clippers, maybe. I'm sorry, Utah. You don't have like LeBron James and whatnot, so I can't put you in the NBA Finals. But if these guys wouldn't flock to like literally 1, 2, or 3 teams, and they would kind of stay consistent like Damian Lillard has been doing, the league would be way more competitive and way more fun and unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. Unpredictable would be a lot more fun, a lot better for everyone, because like you don't know who's gonna come up on top, who's gonna win these games. Like both these super teams, like that those super teams are gonna be competing for a championship at the end of the season, and you don't even have to watch the regular season to know who's gonna be up there, and it's not fun anymore, like you said. And it's crazy how all these, like, of course you want to win, but like comes a point where you load up a team, like is it really that fun anymore, or is it just like repetitive?
Yeah, like you want to win, sure, you want to have that winning mentality, but at the end of the day, you got to think about it. Sure, winning a ring is winning a ring, but you want to go out and say, man, I've been so close many times before, and then I finally just had it to where I'm like, if you can't beat him, join him, like Kevin Durant. Whereas maybe Damian Lillard does get that trophy in Portland one day. Do you want to be the guy that says, I've tried my whole life. I love the city. I love this atmosphere, even though it's not a big name, but I worked my ass off for it, and I got everyone.
That'll be a whole lot better
to rejoice. If Damian Lillard wins, I think he's a prime example. But if Damian Lillard wins a title with Portland, he might be the most respected player in the NBA. I'm dead serious when I say that. Call me crazy all you want, but I don't think you can put a guy on the respected list ahead of Damian Lillard if he wins a title with Portland ever in his career.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. Like, he's loyal to his team, and he's staying there to help build that team to win a championship. And if he does get that, like, I feel like it'd be a lot better winning a championship where you have to actually work your way up from the ground up compared to just going into a team and pretty much having it be automatic.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's a shame, but
it's crazy. Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing else to it. Like, there's so many super teams that keep growing every year, and you already know where these guys are going and like how they're going to do in the playoffs, who's going to win the championship, who's going to be in the championship game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our last major sport. So the NHL. Like, NHL has been playing since January. It's been a pretty good year for them. Like, they haven't had that many like COVID struggles. Like, sure, they've had like teams here and there with like where they had to cancel or postpone games, but other than that, like, it seems like it's going pretty well, especially for our Chicago Blackhawks. Like, they've been on a roll recently, and they started out slow, but they picked it up recently, and they're 13-8-5 right now. Like they're having a good year, and like it's fun watching this team.
Yeah, I'm not going to cut them any slack for losing to the defending champion Lightning a couple times. The Lightning are one of the best teams in the league, and they went toe-to-toe with them a couple times, so I'm not going to cut them some slack. But I was really, really questioning the decision to extend Jeremy Colleton, because remember when me and you went to the Hawks game a little over a year ago, how many boos were at that game, man, when they were introducing Colleton. I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow. I was shocked. And then Stan Bowman too got an extension. I'm like, see, that's where I feel like the problem stems from. But Patrick Kane, old reliable, coming up again clutch.
Recently got 400 goals.
What a guy, man.
He's at like 401, he might be right now.
I think you got to consider him like possibly top 5 best Chicago athletes of all time. Like 100%. Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, gotta be like your top 2. Patrick Kane, man, I think he might be number 3, number 4. He's just that damn good. Like, there's no other way about it.
He's still in his. It seems like he's better now than he was when he first came in the league. Like, I remember seeing this comment on Instagram on ESPN. This dude was like, "There, like, he's not good as good as he was. Like, he's not in his prime anymore. Like, but like he just proves year after year, like, he's a lot better than he was when he was 18, when he first came into the league, and he's putting up more points than he's ever done before, and he just keeps getting better every year. It's insane, especially with how like that he's getting older every year. Like, he's literally doing everything he can to get better and better each year, despite his age. That keeps going up, obviously.
And like the weirdest thing too is like he's been in the league for like 13 years and he's like 31. It's like, what the hell? This guy's still kind of like a kid in a way. I mean, not really like a kid, but he's not exactly.
He still keeps up with them too. With all the kids in the league now.
Oh, he's great, man. The Blackhawks should never let him go. 88 retire when he retires. 88's getting permanently hung up for good. But the guy, like I said, he's like all reliable, you know? He's just that guy. He doesn't stop year in, year out the production. Can we just get a little tribute though to Brent Seabrook? Hell of a career.
Yeah, I was just about to bring him up. Like, Brent Seabrook just announced his retirement like 2 to 3 days ago.
I think it was Friday.
Yeah, it was Friday. Yeah. So big kudos to him, or I shouldn't say kudos, but like good on him in retiring, and just I wish him all the best of luck and success in his retirement. Like, it sucks that injury put him to retire this early. Like, I think he still had a year or two left in him before this injury. So we just got to give a big tribute to Brent Seabrook here.
Yeah, hell of a player, big contributor to those 3 Stanley Cup titles. Sucks, like you said, that injury kind of cut his career short, but glad to see he retired as a Blackhawk. I don't think he would have played another uniform. Just really good guy.
He was stable
always
in the
very,
lineup
very
too.
consistent.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys too that you get like that random, like, oh my God, Brent Seabrook scored a big playoff goal. He's one of those guys, like a big time moment guy.
Yeah, exactly. And like he was great for the city of Chicago and the Hawks, and just he was a big contributor in the three Stanley Cups, like you said. He was a staple in the lineup every year that he's played with the Hawks. And like he still had it, like especially before the injury, like he still had it. Enough to play and like keep up with these guys and still be a really, really good defender and top defender in the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hell of a career for Seabrook, but I just, like I said, I can't believe that the Hawks are contending. Like I never really thought we'd see that with Jeremy Colton. I'll be honest.
I think this team could definitely make a wrecking in the playoffs this year. Like they have, like, their goaltending started out slow with Subban and Delia, and then Kevin Lankinen comes in from Rockford from the taxi squad, and he's the starter from now on. Just Subban's played a ton of good games recently. Like,
did he just get a shutout? Not that recently.
Yeah, he got a shutout. Yeah. I believe last week against Columbus, I believe, and that was a really good performance from him. Like
I think he got the Red Wings too in a shutout.
Yeah, I think he
did. I think
Lankinen
really well,
got a shutout in Columbus. Subban got a big win against Tampa in the shootout 2 days ago, I believe. So that was
Subban's playing unreal.
Yes.
Really, really glad to see him starting to succeed.
Yeah, he started slow, and I was like, I don't know about this, but since then, like, he's definitely turned a point where he's really good, and like he's coming in clutch when he needs to, which is huge for a goaltender. And like you got Kevin Lankinen again, who came in from the taxi squad and is put on a show for the Hawks and for the NHL, and he's definitely in the running for top goaltender of the league this year for sure. And just, it's like their defense has gotten a lot better as well. Like their offense has always been really good. Like they're starting to click even more. So everything's going good in the right direction for the Hawks. And it's great to see them really giving it to these teams, and especially Tampa. Like they just won 3-2 in the shootout, I believe, Friday. Today they lost 6-3, I think 6-3 or 6-2. So that was unfortunate, but like they're in a good spot right now where they could definitely make a wrecking for the next few months before going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I know you're still a little salty on that Robin Leonard trade from us getting Subban and us giving up Leonard. So I know you're not ready to give Subban enough credit yet, just because you were like, what are they doing trading Leonard away? But making the most of that situation. Corey Crawford doesn't come back. Unfortunate that he had to retire after not even playing a single game with the Devils. Also, thank you 50 for that. But yeah, giving up another really good goalie who had a great year with the Islanders before and spent time with the Maple Leafs as well. Pretty good, not as good as he was before, but really good with the Hawks. Then we get rid of him, get him to Vegas, and we're like, oh crap. I mean, no offense to Malcolm Subban, but he's no Robin Leonard, he's no Corey Crawford. But the more they get this guy to play, I think the better results will come. And obviously, like you said, he's really been turning a corner lately, and Lankinen into him, like, who are these guys? Like, I'm like, we got to start seeing more of this, because no more Crawford, no more Leonard. Gonna be some younger guys, so that's what it's all about. It's just having these guys to step in from taking the big shoes to fill.
Yeah, exactly. And just Leonard, like, he had a fantastic year in New York for the Islanders the year before, and he played decently well in his time in Ottawa for the Senators. But then he comes to Chicago, puts on a show, goes to Vegas, and he's still putting on a show in Vegas. And like, I know I was salty about that trade, but Subban is definitely, I think, has gotten to my good side, and I definitely think he's
Good.
He's that guy that we need, especially in those games that he needs to come in clutch. Like, I know that he can. His energy level is insane, especially in the playoff or in the shootout the other day. Like, he was having fun. Like, you could tell that he enjoyed winning, and like he was like pumping up, like getting pumped up after the win. You need that, and like you need that energy in the room. I definitely think Subban is definitely that guy, and Subban's definitely on my good side now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and so going into like a little couple like NHL news really quick, like the Buffalo Sabres, like they're 6-14-3. Like Buffalo is not having it right now. Like Buffalo's like their compete level is not there, and nothing's
What's going on
right
with them, man? Didn't they get they got someone in free agency. They already have a couple of young guys, but was it Taylor?
Not working out. It's not working out for them. Like I think Jack Eichel's looking to get out of Buffalo. Like,
didn't they get someone like Taylor Hall was his name, or no? He went to the Devils.
Yeah, Taylor Hall went to the Devils.
They have another young.
They did get someone though. Like I guess
really surprised because
I guess really that's not working out.
I was really surprised because I thought this would be the year that them again taking that step up. They've been kind of crappy over the last decade.
Yeah, but apparently it's not working out that well, and just their compete level isn't there, which is unfortunate. And just you want to see Buffalo succeed, especially since like how good they've been, or like how they've gotten a lot better over the years. But this is a step back for them, I believe. They just need to get everything figured out, I believe, and just continue to find the right pieces to put together and get them on the right track to better compete with other teams and get some wins, because you need wins to go off in the standings.
Yeah, can we just mention though that Florida Panthers are they the best team in the league right now, points wise? They might be one of the top two.
I know they're definitely up there for sure.
And again,
Florida's number 4 in the league right now at 15-5-4.
But again, who's coaching Florida? I wonder who it might
Coach
be.
Q.
Oh, Quenneville. Oh, wow. I'm so shocked. I'm honestly not shocked at all. You know, I'm not as salty about it now with the Blackhawks starting to do a lot better, but I knew, and you know this, you know damn well Quenneville was not the problem. He was not the problem. And as old as he is, I mean, and I hate to say it, but he's been around for a long time. He's like second in all-time wins, and he's probably a bunch behind Scotty Bowman, which I don't think that's ever going to be caught. The guy's a great coach, like fantastic coach. And, you know, like, again, Florida Panthers, like when did they come in the league? Like 2000? They haven't been around that long. Team that hasn't really done much of anything in the NHL. He comes to a team with, I don't really know. I might know like one guy. I sound horrible right now, but Florida's not really a team that you think of, oh my God, a lot of superstars are there, you know? Yeah. It's just, he goes there in like 2 years. 1-2 years. There they are. They're right there. Same thing with the Blackhawks. You know, Blackhawks kind of started off not necessarily slow, but they didn't win the cup right away. But look at Florida now. They're right there. And I think that's Quenneville is a great coach. He was not the problem in Chicago. I don't know why he got fired, but like I said, as old as he is, he's still succeeding.
He is
really, really good.
The best coach in the NHL for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
No doubt.
Second best of all time.
Oh yeah.
Scotty Bowman's on a whole nother level, but man, Quenneville is giving him a run for his money. I don't think he'll coach as long as him, but there's a definite chance that
for sure.
We could talk about Joe Quenneville just below Scotty Bowman.
Oh yeah. You know who is first in the league though? This is a surprise.
It's not Tampa Bay?
No, Tampa's second.
I just looked at this the other day. It's not St. Louis.
They're in Canada.
Edmonton?
Toronto.
Wow. Okay.
Toronto Maple Leafs first in the league with going 18-6-2 right now with 38 points. That is
John
something you do not
Tavares.
see every day.
John Tavares, Austin Matthews.
Mitch Marner,
Who's your goalie?
Freddie Anderson.
Yeah, the last time I heard of Toronto's goalie, when was Reimer their goalie? Like a couple years ago?
That was a while ago.
Oh, it was? Yes. Yeah,
Reimer's with the Hurricanes now.
See, man, like, I only know, like, the big name teams, like Boston and, like, Montreal and obviously the Blackhawks. By the way, I meant to ask you earlier, I know this is going off topic, but does Vegas, do they still do, like, a major split with goalies? Like, is Fleury and Leonard, do they get, like, equal playing time, or is it kind of more one-sided?
I think they're still going, like they're splitting it, but I think Fleury's been getting the nod a lot more recently.
Okay, interesting. Matt Murray, though, how's Ottawa doing? I know that's the guy who he got taken over from in Pittsburgh. He's not even in Pittsburgh anymore.
Yeah, he's been doing.
I do know that one
recently. He's been giving up some pretty bad goals recently. Like they're 8-17 right now. Like they're not doing that well, and it's just
also I want to know your take. I do not like the new Ottawa Senators logo.
Really?
I think it's a downgrade from their old one. I gotta be honest.
It seems a lot more simpler, this logo, which it's either hit or miss, but I kind of dig this logo, but like
it's not terrible, but I was like, their old one looked better. Like their old one looked more fierce. Like the guys, like he looked very like formal. Like, what are you doing? And this one just like kind of like, oh, I'm here. You know, I kind of want to know your take. I like the uniforms. Like I like the black and the red kind of stripes around them. I like that. But as far as the logo, I was like, I like the old ones better.
Yeah, and it's kind of a toss up. Like I do like the simplicity of that logo now. But I also agree with you, like the other logo looks a bit more fierce, but I definitely like the simplicity, and like it does pop, especially like on their jerseys, like it pops. But other than that, like I think I'll give this logo a bit more of a likability for me.
We all know though, I know this happened a couple years ago. Florida Panthers, their logo was so much cooler than their new one.
Like, yeah, come on! I really like the cat jumping out at you. Like it's it's jumping out like awesome. That,
and it's got the hockey stick, and it's so cool. And I'm like, they went from I don't dislike the other one, but the other one was like, come on!
I do like the colors of this logo though, of the current Florida Panthers logo.
No,
the logo, the colors are pretty sick.
Yeah, but the old one's so fierce. Like it gives me like old Jacksonville Jaguar vibe.
That is true.
Like the Jaguar is like on the shoulder pad, and it's like walking. It's like I don't know. Like I was like, why do they freaking change it?
But that is true. But going back to Ottawa, one of our guests, Joey Decord, played.
Joey, I remember.
He started his first game of the 2021 season.
How about that?
Last week? They lost, unfortunately, but it's good to see a guy that we've had on the show playing in a game in the NHL.
Yeah, I remember him, Arizona State, and he went somewhere more north, correct? And somewhere in like Michigan as well.
Massachusetts,
that's right. But Arizona State, I was like, I remember him. He kind of was like, Arizona State is a hockey school. I'm like, that was kind of an interesting, bold move, but really, really cool. Yeah, like you said, to see someone like that make a start for Iowa. That's freaking awesome. But kind of interesting that he takes over a former Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah, for sure. And just I want to take this time to like say like good luck and like to everyone that we've had on the show, and like hope their season's gone well. Like I know we have like five to six AHL guys in the AHL right now. We have a bunch of guys playing the coast right now in the SP, the Fed. Want to wish those guys all the best of luck this season, and hope they have a very successful season. And like some of the guys are overseas too, so their seasons are getting close to being done. But it's awesome seeing these guys play, and like that we've had on our show, and like we're friends with as well, like off the show.
Absolutely, yeah. Really, really cool to see these guys making the most of their opportunity. And like you said, for Joey making a name for himself up in the NHL, getting that start. Always like to see these guys reach the pinnacle of their ultimate goals. So really, really cool to see. And yeah, nothing but the best of luck to those guys.
Oh yeah, and especially the other guys in the other sports, like Brennan Davis, like he's playing Cub spring training right now. Like some of those guys, like all the other guys we've had on, like Austin Shoemaker, like all those guys, basketball, football, like
Yeah, Jordan Blunt.
Yeah, good luck in all your seasons, and like we wish you nothing but the best of luck, and it's fun watching these guys play.
Yeah, 100%. Could not agree more.
Yeah, so I have one more thing on the NHL that I found out today, that the Vegas Golden Knights were forced out of their team hotel in San Jose after it went bankrupt on a game day.
The hotel?
Yeah, the hotel. You don't hear that every day.
Yeah, no kidding. Are they up there too? They got to be like third or fourth.
Yeah, they're sixth in the league.
Okay.
So they're up there as well. Vegas is having a great year as well. So it's fun watching them.
It's not going to take them long to win a cup. They're going to win one in the next couple of years.
Absolutely, for sure. They have all the pieces to do it right now. So I hope Vegas definitely wins it in the next year or two. Like that'd be insane with like in their fourth or fifth year of existence. Like they win a Stanley Cup, and like the history that, like especially that first year they made it to the Stanley Cup final and lost to the Capitals. Like that, their history already is insane.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Vegas as a hockey town, but man, they've really embraced it down there, and it's cool to see. You know, they're starting to get their own little thing going. I was like, I don't know about the whole new thing, but it's kind of cool with the NHL kind of moving in like an old but in a new direction at the same time. The one thing I didn't like though, like the Detroit Red Wings at Little Caesars Arena. No wonder why they sucked the last couple of years. Like, what the hell is that? Little Caesars Arena? No, like Joe Louis Arena is like, oh my God, like we're going to play the Red Wings. Little Caesars Arena is like, we're staying out of there with like a 5-1 win, basically. But yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Like I don't know why they shut down. They tore down Joe Louis Arena. Like that arena was sick, and like it's a legendary arena.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like you literally you go there and you're like, oh my God, we're playing the Red Wings
in the Joe Louis Arena,
hockey town, man. And now it's like, oh, pizza. Who's gonna want to go to that place?
LCA, Little Caesars Arena.
I mean, I'll go if the Blackhawks beat the crap out of them. No offense, Detroit, but. Very puzzling. You know, it's also very puzzling though. You bring up San Jose. What is going on with the Sharks? They have talent, don't they? I mean, I'm not going crazy, right?
No, like they're super talented. Like they got Devin Dubnyk from the Wild, and like they have all the pieces. Kane? Yeah, Vander Kane.
Is he not playing this year?
No, he is.
Oh, I thought there was something where he like went bankrupt or something and he like couldn't play.
There was, but I'm pretty sure he's been playing.
Oh, they lost Pavelski, but I knew that last year. Thornton's gone. They lost him.
Yeah, they still. Vander Kane's played in 22 games this year so far.
Okay, but they have talent. You know, they have Carlson, big time trade from Ottawa. Brent Burns is still there. Like they have talent. Like. What's going on? They just made the cup not that long ago.
Yeah, they just got to find that switch to switch, and I think once they find that switch, like they're gonna be a really good team to play against, and like it's gonna be hard for a lot of teams to play against them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just really interesting that like San Jose, man, the Sharks, like wow, really surprising. They still have what's the name? Goaltender, something. What's his
Martin
name? Jones. He's still the goaltender?
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid goaltender, man. What? Interesting.
They just gotta find the right pieces to put together, and then they definitely have the lineup to do it. They just gotta find those pieces and to put together and like flip that switch, like I said earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So going into one last thing for hockey, like I got to go into the AHL with the Chicago Wolves. Like, they've just started their season February 5th. They're 8-2, 0-1 right now. They're the second best team in the AHL right now. First place in the Central Division, being led by Seth Jarvis with 11 points. They have a ton of first round draft picks, being well used and they're being really productive in the lineup. Like, their all around game has been solid from the first line to the fourth line. Defense, goaltending, like, it's been spectacular. And it doesn't help it helps when you have two NHL partners as well, with the Nashville Predators and the Carolina Hurricanes. And
They share?
Yeah, they share, because Milwaukee opted out of the AHL. So Nashville went to Chicago.
Okay.
And then Carolina was going to start an affiliation agreement with the Wolves this year. But then with Milwaukee opting out, Nashville came in to double partner with the Wolves.
So Milwaukee was Nashville's team?
Yeah, but Milwaukee will go back to Nashville next year when the AHL season starts back up. But
then
they opted out.
So then Carolina takes over the Wolves. And then Seattle, whenever they come in the league, are they going to get a new AHL team, or how's that?
There's a new Palm Springs team coming next year, I believe, or maybe, I think it's next year, 2022. So I think Seattle will go to Palm Springs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about cross country.
Yeah, for real. Nah, that would be a wild ride to go cross country like that. Go from Seattle, it's like somewhere over in the East Coast.
Yeah, now you're coming from sweet home Chicago to it's funny, Hurricane City in North Carolina.
Yeah,
funny. No pun intended.
Well, I think that'll be a good partnership, especially with like the team and the players they have in their system right now. Like when we went to the Wolves games in 2019, Carolina was affiliated with Charlotte that took on the Wolves in the Calder Cup finals and beat out the Wolves. And so like they still have some of those guys that are now joining the Wolves. And like, especially this year with Nashville, Milwaukee was the best team in the league last year in the AHL, and they're joining with Carolina, which in 2019 had a Calder Cup championship. Like, put those teams together and you create like a super team.
So who's Charlotte's team now? Since, I mean, that's kind of interesting that Carolina moves to Chicago, considering they had an in-state team.
Charlotte Checkers are with St. Louis Blues now, I believe.
And they're moving so much stuff around. Jeez.
Or no, they're actually a Florida Panthers affiliate, actually.
Okay.
So
it's still weird how they're flipping everything around.
Yeah, it's weird. It gets complicated with like how many times these teams switch affiliates to like somewhere that's a little farther away than their other affiliate. But
like, where's Vegas now? Because the Wolves are Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas was with the Wolves last year, and then Vegas bought out San Antonio Rampage and moved them to Henderson in Nevada, which is like really close to Vegas.
Okay.
It's like they pretty much have like a team right there, and the Henderson Silver Knights. So a bunch of the Wolves players are now on Henderson Silver Knights.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, but the AHL season's going good, really good so far for the Wolves, and for most of the league. Like, they've had limited like COVID complications and all that, like some canceled, postponed games here and there, but other than that, like, season's gone well for the AHL so far. And I'm excited for AHL hockey and Wolves hockey and any hockey type of hockey, I'm excited for it. So it's so much fun getting both NHL and AHL action.
Oh yeah, Jack and hockey, what a perfect mix.
Oh yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we close this episode up?
No new topics. Just glad to be on again. Glad to get some of my thoughts and opinions back out there. So it feels different to be back, but it feels good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully I won't be as busy more lately, and I'll be able to hop on some more of these episodes. But just like I said, glad to share my opinions and whatnot, and talk some sports.
Exactly. We love talking sports, so that's all we do. So it's good to get you back on, join us for join us for the sports news episode and as many episodes of the interviews as we can during our free time. But thank you all for watching. Go watch us, follow us, listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, Instagram. We're all on those social medias at On the Spot Sports with underscores between each word. So on _spot_sports, On the Spot Sports with underscores between each word. Go listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.